Eric July literally lied to the police, and that's why Riley had a warrant. What was that warrant for, Sangy? Because you know so much.
Harassment.
And what was that harassment for? Because
No,
everybody's telling me that Riley was arrested for being at the restaurant at the Boozy Bird.
Well, there was confusion because when the live stream, you could hear Riley saying he was being arrested for stalking, and I thought that too. Because when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, he's being arrested for stalking." But then it came out it was actually a harassment charge.
Yeah, but it was harassment for the warehouse incident in Texas. You might not know this, so I'll pull it up for you.
No, I did hear that. I heard that that's what it was for. That's why he.
I'm here to help you. I'm just saying, I'm here to help you. In Texas, Texas law does not require law enforcement to inform you that they issue a warrant for your arrest. Eric July literally lied to the police in order to get a warrant put on Riley, and Riley had no clue. Eric July didn't even have the balls to say, "Hey, Riley, you have a warrant. You show up back in Texas, your ass is going to get arrested." He literally didn't tell Riley. No one told Riley. The state of Texas didn't tell Riley that he had a warrant. Riley would have took care of this shit a long time ago, months ago, if he knew. You think this is a good law, a fair law? I'm gonna take that as a no. I agree. This is bullshit. This is a bullshit Texas statute. They need to fix this, guys. Now, we need this shit fixed. That's not the only thing that Texas is full of shit about. Because I don't know if you know the statute on harassment in Texas. Do you happen to know the Texas statute on harassment, Sangy?
No, you can tell me.
I will. So the Texas statute on harassment, as you can see here on the screen, a person commits an offense if they, with the intent to harass, annoy, alarm, abuse, torment, or embarrass another. If you try to embarrass somebody, you can get charged with harassment. Making fun of somebody on the internet, making fun of somebody in person. If you try to annoy them, "Hey, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you." "Oh shit, I'm being arrested for harassment." What kind of pussy ass shit is it? Don't mess with Texas because we'll arrest you for harassment. That's what they're saying now, right? 51% of us all have guns, but we will never use them because we're too pussy, and we'll just charge you with harassment. Disrespect is really illegal, yeah, in Texas. Can't disrespect anybody. Do you think that's a good law? Do you think that's a... No? Yes? Eric, I know you're listening. So Eric July, make sure you're listening. And Andrew,
Hi, Eric,
Alex. Eric, I want you to listen very closely. I want you to think long and hard, Eric. Think long and hard about this route that you're now taking this whole situation down, right? You're going down a very, very precarious route, a very slippery slope, if you will.
Walking a tightrope.
Because if you have Riley arrested for harassment, I mean, according to Texas statute, Texas, the state that you live in, the state where you're currently residing, says that if you try to embarrass somebody, that's harassment. So Riley could very well countersue your ass for your video saying that he smelled like literal shit. Mint can sue your ass for all those tweets you made implying that she does incestuous porn. Nerdette can sue your ass for all the times you called her a heifer. Yes. Bob can sue your ass for all the times you implied that Bob was a bad father and that he wasn't built for this and all that. You know, you have a whole series of videos called Owning, what was it? Owning My Detractors, My Haters, some shit like that. I think it's called This Is All the Evidence for Me to Be Sued. That's what the new series is going to be called. Here's evidence to have my ass sued. So, Eric, really think...
And all the Armenians, too. Let's not forget that.
LG lives in Texas, don't he?
Yeah, that statute is overbroad. I agree. They could arrest half of YouTube and Twitter. They could arrest everybody.
But you have
to be in Texas.
Larry.
Tony, I think you clicked on the wrong thing. Are you sure this isn't Canada? Or Britain?
This is America.
Texas.
This is Texas.
In the words of the IRA.
Yeah. But see, here's the good thing, right? See, now that we all know, now I never planned to go to Texas. So Texas will not have me extradited from Illinois to go to Texas to ever stand trial for any of this shit. However, Eric, you live in Texas. So if anyone decides that, hey, you know what? I have been harassed by Eric. I have he's attempted to embarrass me or to cause me annoyance or abuse or alarm or torment. All those times that you threaten people, you packing. And I know, Eric, this is probably why you don't name names. We think you're smart. You're smarter than everybody. If I don't say Dick and Vito's name, they can't sue me. Eric, let's see how that holds up in court. Let's see how that holds up in court when Vito sues your ass for all the times you call them a pedophile.
A certain
online.
individual, a certain content creator. Yeah.
So, oh man, like I said, Eric, I would really think about this. Think long and hard. You could even pretend. You could pretend like you're just the bigger man in the situation. You know what, Riley? Just leave me alone. Never come around me again, Riley, and all charges will be dropped. I mean, you're the bigger man. We'll all clap. We'll all cheer. We'll all pretend like none of this is because you realize the door that you're opening. We'll all pretend. I'll pretend. I'll say, look how great Eric is. He's decided to drop this silliness with Riley. But if you don't,
Darkosis has a thing. I don't know if it.
It says 4207 requires A to be true and then A subsection of A. So no, embarrass another without one of the other elements is not illegal. Oh man, it'd be really hard to prove that though. That's the thing. It's overbroad. See, the law is written really shittily. I don't know. Anything goes. That's what I'm saying. So, like I said, I would just drop it. I'll just drop it. I wouldn't open this kind of door, right? This is like when you start doxing people and then everyone just starts doxing, everyone just all, when you start flinging shit just gets everywhere. Everybody gets covered, right? After all this, Riley won't get closer to Eric in events ever again. Honestly, shouldn't though. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Riley's learned his lesson. We've all learned our lesson, Eric. We can all just walk away. That's what I would do. That's what the bigger man would do. But hey, I'm not worried. I don't live in Texas. I don't have to worry about any of these laws being sued. Any Dane from actual fandom who really was trying to get you canceled from an event. I'm sure he would definitely take advantage of this after all the things you said about him. Man, just saying. That's a lot of thinking that I would do. I don't know about the rest of you guys. Would you do some thinking? I would do some thinking. Definitely.
Lots of thinking, yeah. Lots of reflection on everything Eric the July has done.
But to be fair,
all the ass pats he's given to
this would be brought up in court, and it is damning defense. He is moving differently.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Of course. Yeah. The new Eric July, yeah.
You're like, Your Honor, what it is I'm moving differently. So as you can see,
I'm not 2008 Eric.
He did tweet out that he is a much more professional Eric because he's trying to run a company.
How is Texas law different from any other law? Our laws aren't about being a pussy. I mean, in California, you could pretty much say anything about anybody at any time, and they're not going to sue you. Or they could sue you, but they just won't win. First Amendment rights trump a lot of things in other states. In Texas, apparently it doesn't. Right? That's the difference.
Yeah, big old tough Texas.
Yeah. This is Lawfare, bro. Wasn't Eric all pissed off someone got involved in a lawsuit? Yeah, he got pissed off because he thought people got him involved in a lawsuit. Now he's just using the government to wage lawfare against law-abiding citizens. Riley, whose only crime was existing, just handing out copies of ISIM. I know that's a terrible thing that no one should do. No one should give out copies of ISIM. That's fucking
that's like a war crime. That's like terrorism.
Yeah.
Like pinning out anthrax. It's the same level.
Stimulated says, yeah, we ain't got that gay shit in the real South. Exactly. I get a tax write-off for making fun of people in California. Yeah. Is this what they meant by don't mess with Texas? That'll charge you with harassment for annoying them because that's how tough they are. Exactly. I'm saying.
Why is he looking to be attracted to Jones?
I had to join you guys for a little bit to point out some irony that I very much appreciate in this situation that has been revealed today. If you don't mind giving me a couple minutes.
No, go ahead. You got the floor, Chris.
All right. So the warrant that came out from Eric July was harassment based on electronic communication. And from what I'm seeing, all the Rippa fans are very excited about this. Hey, we got you, motherfucker. Blah, blah, blah. So the irony to this is my police report that I filed is for the exact same fucking thing.
That's right.
And it named, in my police report, names 5 people. So I expect the full support of the Rippaverse. No more comments about bitch made. You're a bitch for filing a report. Ha, ha, ha. You can't take shit. No, we have to be intellectually honest here. If it's okay for Riley to be charged with these things and a warrant going out for his arrest for these type of charges, I'll say this, unlike the bitch ass Rippa fans, at least Riley pulled up and did and accepted Eric's invitation. None of these will show their face anywhere. They have the police information. I've made it very public who the investigating detective is. And by the way, for whenever you guys watch it, subpoenas have been issued. It's not a matter of if, but when all 5 of you are identified. And what's going to be the ratio of, say, detractors versus Rippa fans who are going to get perp walked? About 5 to 1. In Sturgis, I really appreciate, especially in the last couple of days, your video that you made where you mentioned me again by name. And there's a couple of others that I have clipped, as well as your tweets where I've been mentioned and tagged. You can be added to this police report just as well. And I can find you a hell of a lot easier than these other people. You're not that hard to find.
Chris, for the people, Chris,
Hey,
for
man,
the people
just
who
go
came
ahead.
in, sorry, Chris, for the people who came in, are you able to give us the list of people that are on that warrant?
George Peter Gatzis is top of the list. Top of the.
He's on the top of every list.
They know who they are.
I'm top of mind. What do you want?
Okay, let's let.
Why are you always derailing things, George?
But
because
those,
I'm
but
the,
those
I'm the
folks,
distractor. What do you
those
think?
folks know who they are. They've been given the detective information if they want to correct the record. These are the same people who, after I made one of my posts, tagged the Frisco Police Department more than a few times and the Collin County District Attorney. And when I talked with the detective, you know what they did? Not a goddamn thing. Because I have actually submitted overwhelming evidence against all 5 of these people. I've got a civil attorney also working with Twitter to get these people identified. And again, Sturgis, if you want to get added to this list, I can do that. I can own you. I can have you perp walk from whatever shithole room that you're sitting in. Just let me know.
We don't
Or you
own
can shut
people
the
of
fuck
color
up.
anymore, Chris.
Yeah, I thought slavery was done with, but in this case, I'm going to let it pass.
He's the brown
All right,
man.
all right. I'm going to silence George because I need to, this is very important. But Chris, since you're dealing with this already, quick question: would anything that you've said back to them be relevant to this case? So if they said, "Oh, well, you know, I said this to Chris, but Chris said this back to me," does that cancel out them getting in trouble?
No. But I've
So
also
is
been
it
advised
possible?
I don't address these people directly.
No, I wasn't asking for you because I was asking actually more in the Eric July, because Eric July has said things to Riley that would also fall in the same category of harassment, like things like calling him like smelling like shit, a big elephant,
Yeah, call him an elephant.
goofball, you know, saying things about his girlfriend, saying things about Mint. So I was just wondering how that would play out if Riley would be able to like countersue or counter.
Or does it like show that it's
I don't know.
Eric doesn't feel threatened by Riley if
Again,
he's willing to?
It's if Riley wanted to make a police report, he would be well within his rights to do so. Now, he could then, just like I did, present evidence to say, hey, this is your statute. In this case, well, my case was the same thing that he was charged for, was the cyber harassment, which is Texas statute 4207. And that's what Riley was being cited for, and that's what the warrant was for. And this is the same thing that the police are investigating. Unlike Riley, who was identified, these folks have still not been identified officially. So there is things that he could do. I mean, he certainly could and present evidence. Just because Eric July did that first doesn't mean Riley can't do it. That doesn't mean he can't, say, hey, this person is harassing me. The only thing is, when you have like some sort of maybe back and forth and there is, that interaction, just like, for example, the stuff that's going, and again, this is just based on my conversations with counsel and with the police department, like the stuff that Tony does with LG, for example, like calling him homeless Larry, and there's back and forth banter. It would be very, very hard pressed for Tony to file a police report for harassment and have that go anywhere because of the ongoing engagement.
If Riley presents evidence that there's an ongoing back and forth between him and Eric, with Eric, even though he doesn't name him, but he does imply it's Riley he's talking about, could that then get Riley out of trouble? Say, look, there's been a back and forth between the two of us, so it wouldn't hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't hurt. And again, like that video that's been circulating where Eric's like, pull up. Sounds like an invitation to me. Again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, but I mean, again, based on my fairly novice understanding of how that works, I think it would be incredibly difficult for that to stick. Yeah, Riley had a warrant out for his arrest. That's why they arrested him. Yeah. The validity of it, will come to light soon enough. And I'm assuming that's why his bond was so dirt cheap, $1,500. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that he could do. Well, obviously to get that expunged, but like in my situation, for example, these people came at me relentlessly. They were coming after me directly. I even put it out there. Don't do it. Do it anywhere else. Just don't do it directed at me. They kept doing it. They kept doing it. They kept doing it. They kept doing it. And that's why when I took my information to the police, they looked at all of the information and said, yeah, that's legit. We'll pursue an investigation. Because if in the absence of evidence, they wouldn't have done shit. They would have been like, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But you present the information. And again, cops aren't lawyers. They're not judges. They don't know the law. You present the information and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's look into it. So that would be, my armchair quarterback advice to Riley is, look at his own stuff and say, hey, what's my defense here? What information can I gather to show that this was back and forth? Again, Eric saying, pull up, I'm telling you where I am. That sounds like an invitation. And I think it would be very, very hard for that to stick.
He said on Nick's show that he wasn't afraid of Riley, and that was after he went to the warehouse. And if that's what this is for, then that would be pretty damning.
Well, the thing is too, like the harassment thing in the state of Texas is a much lower bar than, say, stalking. Like when they said Riley was arrested for stalking, the stalking thing, if you look at the language in those statutes, it's quite different. The one for harassment is like, are you being annoyed, bothered? It's very, very vague. The stalking thing, it's like you have to prove fear. And I think Eric would be very, very hard pressed to prove that he was fearful in
I ain't afraid of nobody.
Shape, or form. Especially since every time, except for last Saturday, that Riley has shown up to a location, Eric hasn't been present, and Riley knew he wasn't present. So I don't know. But they're completely different statutes with completely different wordings. The harassment statute is a lot easier to overcome than the stalking one. Because the stalking one, unlike the harassment one, is a third-degree felony in the state of Texas. The harassment one can be like a misdemeanor to a felony. Most likely would be like a misdemeanor. I think the jail time is quite a bit different, and the fines are quite a bit different. But yeah, the stalking in the state of Texas is quite a bit different than the harassment one.
All right.
Anyway, that was my 2 cents. Again, I thought that this was particularly entertaining, especially since I'm doing the same thing and heard all sorts of shit from the Rippa fans like, why did you file a police report? You're a bitch. This is just social media. Yeah, guys, it's just social media, right? Over a comic book. Well,
just
now
jokes until
everybody
it's
knows
not.
Eric had no problem
It's
putting
just
out
jokes,
a warrant for this shit. So if you guys are going to be intellectually honest, I'm assuming I'm going to have the full support of the Rippaverse that I can bring these people to justice who have come after me. So I expect.
I would laugh so hard if one of those people turns out to be Eric or his wife.
Yeah. Or one of the warehouse people.
But
we'll find out.
Man, they don't support anybody without shoulder hair. So,
well, I put it out there. One of them, 100%, lives in Frisco, Texas. So take that for what it's worth. So we'll find out. Subpoenas have gone out. That's inevitable. It's not if, but when. That's all I got for you guys. I'll lurk, but that was what I wanted to offer.
Well, you offered us good stuff. That's all.
Yeah, you made it
sense.